I wrote the music of Childlike for a very specific group of incredible musicians. Nick Marziani on saxophones, Mike Hilgendorf on guitar, and Sharvit on bass. I had each one of their styles and extraordinary capabilities in my mind as I was writing this music and writing the parts for each song. I wanted to make sure this music brought out the best in every single one of these guys, which in a way makes it so incredibly special.
Well, first and foremost, I can't say how honored I am to have Varun ask me to play on this music. After coming to New York, he's one of the most inspiring, talented musicians, and one of the kindest musicians that I've met. So having him come forward and ask me to play on this, it feels like he's instilling a lot of trust in me, and it's truly a great honor. And one of the things that really inspired me a lot when I first started checking the music out before we were going to record it was how diverse the set of music is that Varun wrote. It ranges from straight up fusion to metal to smooth jazz to different varieties of world music mixed in. He has a really unique lineup of musicians, not just because of their personalities and their playing styles, but also just the instrumentation. Having a fusion band where there's no piano, no keyboard, and I get to be the only comping instrument is something that, again, he's instilling a lot of trust in me. It's been a challenge as well as something that's been really, really fun.
I met Varun about 5 years ago at the Manhattan School of Music, and he was one of the first people I actually got to play with, and the connection between the two of us was instant. Just the way we play together, and the level of energy when we're interacting was like no other. I got to play with Varun all through college and on this record too, which was just such a pleasure, and it was so fun for a number of reasons. The first being Varun's music. Varun's music is so deep. It covers so much territory, so much influences from so many different genres of music, and there's a level of fun to it too, where it feels good. Everything feels good to listen to. Everything feels good to play. The other thing too that I noticed when I first started playing with Varun is the fact that in addition to being one of the most unbelievable drummers you'll ever hear, he has an innate talent for bringing the best people together and seeing the best in people and in the way they play. And he really did that with this record.
So the first time I heard Varun playing live was with Sunny Jane's band, Red Barat. They played at LPR as part of a benefit for a different club in Brooklyn named Barbès. And I remember Varun had this 10-minute solo that completely blew my mind, and I was really impressed by his abilities on the drum set and just his musicality in general throughout the show. Just the way he complimented the band and kept the energy high and everyone were dancing, and it was just an amazing night overall. And so since then I completely kept Varun in my mind, like for future things and just like kind of following him and his work. I didn't know that he's also an incredible composer, which I realized when he called me to do this recording. And I remember the first time I heard his music and I was really moved by it. And I was just immediately able to hear myself supporting the music. And I was excited to be part of it with all these incredible musicians. Also with Nick and Michael, I had a great time.
Each one of these brilliant artists comes from a completely unique musical background and artistic vision. For instance, Nick grew up on smooth jazz and pop music. Mike grew up on Eddie Van Halen and Alan Holdsworth, and Almog is one of those guys who just listens to and plays every single thing on the face of the earth. But when you put all these guys together, it's a match made in heaven.
One of my favorite memories when we were starting to rehearse this record has to do with the title track. When Varun sent us this music, the only reference we had, since these are all original compositions of his, are MIDI files. If any of you guys have listened to MIDI files, they don't sound very good. So when we were at home practicing this music on our own, it was really, really hard to tell what this music was going to sound like once we put all the pieces together. And I remember in the very first rehearsal, when we played the title track, Childlike, when Nick started playing the melody with me and I was playing the chords, these beautiful chords that Varun wrote, when they finally came together with everything, it was like enlightening. Like it just breathed life into the entire project and the drive to put it together and make this record happen.
My absolute favorite track on this album, and believe me, it's really hard to pick a favorite because everything is so beautiful and unique, is the track entitled The Beauty One Gives. It's sort of an ode to pop rock, and the energy in it just soars through the roof. I played tenor and soprano saxophones on this one, and it was super, super fun to record. Maybe a little bit too much fun, because when I was soloing, I may or may not have quoted a British cartoon theme song and got the band laughing so much we almost didn't finish the take. Either way, we did. It sounds awesome. I'm really excited for you to hear it.
So we recorded this album in the wonderful studio in Brooklyn, Big Orange Sheep, and Chris Benham has been so incredible to work with, and he's just a lot of fun, super funny. And I remember one instance where we were kind of running out of studio time one night and we had to like wrap up one of the tracks, like the last track we had for the night. And it was also, the food came. The food came for us and we were so hungry and we wanted to eat it. And we start chowing down and then we asked Chris if he wants to eat his food. And then he, with a straight face, just looked at us and said, "I'll eat when I'm dead." And I remember Nick couldn't stop laughing about that. The rest of the session and for the day after that. "I'll eat when I'm dead."
A fun fact about the saxophonist Nick Marziani and I, him and I are really great friends, thick as thieves, we play together all the time here in the city, is that at the time of recording this record, we were both crippling caffeine addicts. We were both drinking energy drinks that had 200 plus milligrams of caffeine on a daily basis. And when we were recording this record, we were so hopelessly addicted and the music was so challenging that we were having energy drinks delivered every single day to the studio. So we were just downing them like water, trying to keep ourselves jittery and focused, and it ended up working out, but thankfully I believe we've both honed it in and stepped back on the caffeine intake. Probably good for our heart health.
Going into the studio with these guys was truly a blast, and I think after a couple of, after the first day, we just kind of merged into each other's being in the music, and it was really fun to experience it, making kind of mistakes together and correcting them without even realizing, but just kind of following each other and our ears and our eyes. And it's one of those unique things after you hang out in the studio for hours and you just kind of becomes a unit, and what's on the page really matters, and at the same time it doesn't really matter, the music and the vibration matters in that moment. So yeah, I'm really excited to hear the album actually.